So what we didn't get a chance to really discuss in depth in the pod, because we got into a whole load of other stuff, which was fascinating, is the tennis bit about this year and multiple years of eras gone past in terms of the true stature of some of these players that you've been able to commentate over and speak about. I want to just tap into the idea that for Murray, this might be his bowing out Wimbledon. And if that proves to be the case, and it may well be, how will he be remembered by commentators and fans alike, in your words?
Well, I would have imagined. Well, for a start, he wouldn't have been as good without Federer, Nadal, Djokovic pushing him, and it's to his great credit that he didn't just sit there being between 4 and 10 in the world. He was number 1 in the world year end in 2016. He won 5 tournaments in a row, then beat Djokovic head to head for the end of year world number 1 ranking at the ATP Tour Finals at the O2. Now, that is extraordinary. His 3 Grand Slams, his Olympic golds, his Davis Cup. And so, I'm full of admiration for his work, and we're likely not to see another one, certainly in my lifetime, anything like as good as that. But he's been technically incredible to watch, and the willpower just never ends. He'd better find something to do serious after he's finished playing, because he's got to do something with that competitive fire. He's got an engine every bit as amazing as anybody I've ever seen as an athlete.
I remember watching him at Wimbledon win Olympic gold and also the singles title. And I remember thinking, as I watched both of those occasions, how lucky I was watching that all unfold in real time. And then I think back to matches I've seen with Federer and Nadal and Djokovic as well, and thinking, this is just the most golden time for tennis. I mean, how will we look back on that rivalry and that era of those players together? Because it's been just the most extraordinary rivalry and also friendships.
So when you come out and you've watched those great players on the best arena in the world, on centre court, and you might have had a glass of champagne or two, but I'm very, very sure, being as observant as you are, that when those guys come out, the reaction to them is different than anybody else. And when they first start hitting a ball in the warm up, it's thrilling because people gasp. It's like watching anything amazing. Horowitz playing the piano, Darcy Bustle dancing. There's something, Ben sailing. There is something different, and they've had it. And they happen to be, all 3 of them, playing at the same time against each other. It's outstanding. The Federer Nadal final in 2008, I saw tennis improve in one match. We watched it and just going, you have got to be kidding. How has he done that? How has he made decisions? How has his instinct taken over? How physically have they? It's a lifetime of preparation to be that brilliant. And we've seen it all unfold. Now it's going to be interesting because the only guy that's got magic like that for me is Alcaraz. Sinner's fantastic and worthy of respect. Medvedev's awesome. All of these guys. But Alcaraz for me is the one with the charisma and the magic. So he kind of, he takes the show on from here for me.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? How to capture a crowd, because it's all very well to play the game beautifully, as so many players do in that sort of top 20, top 30 category, but to actually capture the crowd and what to Novak Djokovic, because you feel like he divides the crowd. He feels Marmite. Some people love him and some people not so much. How does he care? Does it matter to him? Does it matter to his legacy that he isn't as loved as the likes of Nadal and Federer?
I don't know. And you could ask him all day long and he's just going to point at 24 and say, done. For me, he's the greatest of all time. And he's been that way from, I first suggested that around 2015 or 16. Even in 2011, he was playing the most complete and fabulous game I'd ever seen. Now, Federer at his height, okay? Nadal at his very best with the fire in his eyes and the biceps and all of this is incredible. But the highest standard of tennis I've ever seen, the most gobsmacking ball striking in a purely technical sense, has been from Novak. He has been actually, for me, hard to imagine, and I don't say it lightly, but a level above. And for just that little just this gap. And so when he's been at his best, he has been the most impressive. Not the most sexy or charismatic or thrilling always, but from a connoisseur's point of view, I've looked at that and just gone, Christ, how do you do that? That's kind of what we want to say when we're watching, right?
Yeah. And what about a prediction for this year then? We've got the women's single and the men's singles titles. Which way do you think it's going to go? How competitive is it, and who's going to eventually hold them aloft?
Well, it would be great if Raducanu got a bit of a run going into the second week. I can't begin to understand the way they're going about their business. The family at the moment, you're not playing matches, just they choose to go their own way, and I'm not here to criticize her. But she, I hope she's ready for success. Every time I see her, I just think she looks fantastic. So I hope she finds whatever she's looking for, and the family as well. I think playing more matches would be great. If she could get into the second week, that would be exciting. On the women's side, Sabalenka's going to be always tough to beat. 6 foot and, athletic and sort of fabulous. Rybakina, Vondrousova, Rybakina should perhaps be the one to beat, because Swiatek doesn't seem to get on so well with the grass, although she's the dominant force in the women. On the men's side, if Djokovic turns up, it would be thrilling. I wouldn't be at all surprised if he does, because that's just what he wants. You didn't think I was going to be here, but here I am, strolling through the gates. I love that sort of sense of, here I'm the best. And he may well prove it once again. But Alcaraz goes in as favourite, with Sinner probably a close second. Again, if Murray can get through to the second week, that gives us another narrative. No Nadal, no Federer, maybe no Djokovic. That would be a shame if those greats are not represented.
Have you planned your words yet for Murray?
No, but I know the sequence we're going to do it in, and I know who's going to be present for it, and I've had to listen to the music that's going to go with the VT package. See, the trouble is he might not retire. Unless it's firmly, we could make ourselves look right bloody idiots, couldn't we? Again, by saying, oh, well, Andy, it's been marvellous, and you've done this, and we love you, and there's tears in the eyes, and the music, and everyone's very moved, and it's that sun beating down on centre court, and Andy waves a sunset, and there's a white Charger taking him away. That's fine. But what happens if he comes back next year and wins the thing? So, we'll see what his plans are. What an impact he's had.
One thing's for certain, he will cry, I will cry. Will you cry?
No, because I'm a professional and I'm working. I cry afterwards. We talked about that. It all comes out afterwards.
Brilliant. Andrew, you're a legend.
I'll weep like a child some other time.